Courage to Rise show. I'm Katie Cianci, your host, and we are so excited to be welcoming Julia Bruck. She's a
Hey,
friend of
Katie.
Hi, she's a friend of mine. She's an award-winning journalist and media expert, and she's also a health junkie. So
Yes.
most people wouldn't know that about her, but she is, and so she's going to be sharing with us all of her tips and tricks and all the good stuff. So we're going to get into it right now because we got 30 minutes and I know you have a lot to share.
Yeah.
So how do you help people with as a health junkie, media expert?
Yeah. Well, so a lot of people don't understand how like I kind of land in this space. And I do call myself a health junkie. I have a master class on it. But I think one of the things that we have to look at is I always say this, and is your biggest business asset is your health.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at it that way, we can look at, well, how have you built a career? And then how were you able to take bigger steps? And how do you take bigger leaps? And it all starts back 15 years ago. I know this whole show is about adversity, right? And like, how do we rise out of adversity and create the life that we really want? Yeah. And I think that's something that for a long time, I thought was this abstract bullshit thing.
Yeah.
So many people do, because when you're in the middle of adversity, it hurts. Yeah. It hurts and you cannot see any way out. All you see is the pain straight ahead. If it's the pain of a divorce, if it's the pain of a death, if it's the pain of a financial bankruptcy, if it's the pain of a loss of a job, loss of a loved one, whatever your pain is, because we all have different pains. Sometimes what I found also in life is that not just one, but two or three will happen at once.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to see, how do I rise out of it?
Yeah.
And I say this from a place of love. I say this from a place of understanding, because I have been there too. And you ask me, how do I help people? Well, it works in a couple different ways. I love to teach entrepreneurial men and women how to become the healthiest versions of themselves while creating an online business. So I call that health and wellness. Yeah. Because what we don't realize is the two are connected.
Yeah, they are. They're so connected. So
right.
True.
So when and the reason I say this is that, you know, your health is your biggest business asset.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you are not smart about leveraging your health in your business and how you're going to do and grow business, you will never have the finances to truly be able to take care of your health.
Yes. So true.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Because money will impact everything we do in our lives. It will impact the healthcare we get, if we can buy organic or not, if we can buy from Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or if you have to go to the dollar store. Mm-hmm. And I say all this, you guys, because I have lived it. Mm-hmm. And it depends, you know, and I have had seasons where all I could do was shop from the dollar store, and I had to figure out how to make it work. And one of the things I never compromised on, being dirt broke and facing bankruptcy, was my health. I never compromised on it, because it was the one thing I knew that to rise out of the adversity, I better have a clear brain, and I better have energy in my body, and I better be able to believe in what's going on inside of me. And that's tough shit when you're in the middle of the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. And especially when you're feeling, I mean, when a lot of people get depressed. I mean, a lot of people feel, I mean, especially if they've got financial struggles, there's anxiety that comes up. There's a feeling of hopelessness, helplessness. And you can't really like generate more income if you don't have the energy. And so it's like that actually helps you with depression too, right? Like what
it's
you
eat. Cycle. Man, it's a cycle. And I fought depression during some of my darkest years in the last couple of years. I fought depression, and I finally actually got some help. So anyone who's listening to this, just so you know, don't be shameful. Go ask for help. I was shameful, and I wish I would have gotten help a long time ago.
Yeah.
But as I was doing that, the conversation actually never came up in the medical circles about what my diet was, but what was on my plate.
What was on your plate?
What was on my plate.
Oh, okay.
And the data we know, and the science shows that what we eat impacts everything in our body.
Yeah.
And the science shows that 75% of our well-being sits in our gut. And the
Mm-hmm.
science also shows that most of what our body does all day long, the hardest work it does, is digestion.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started to understand the science behind all that, I thought, if I could start to make changes by what was on my plate that would have a bigger impact on my brain and my energy level, why wouldn't I do that? And I was actually forced to do this because more than a decade ago, I was in a car crash and I couldn't
Oh,
pick up
yeah.
my cell phone without massive pain. I was
Mhm.
told I was going to live pretty much my life in constant pain. It was from my hands to my neck to my feet to my hips to my knees, pretty much most of my body. And I really just said, that's bullshit. I'm not going to live like that.
Mhm.
I think that and so I really didn't, Western medicine helped a little,
Mhm.
but I had to go on to the other side and keep asking questions. And so if there's anyone here who's listening, who is struggling with depression or struggling with pain or health issues, and you feel like, okay, you keep going to the doctor or you're on all these pills, I'm going to challenge you to ask more questions and be a bigger advocate for your health. I'm
Yeah.
going to challenge you to say, what are you eating? I'm going to challenge you to say, what are you drinking?
Mhm.
Because when I was looking at any way I could reduce pain. So I started to understand what inflammation was. And I
Mhm.
started to understand how inflammation can impact our bodies and cause more pain. Well, I was dealing with massive nerve damage.
Mm.
Eventually we figured this out. And the nerve damage then would be worse depending what I ate, I figured out,
Mhm.
because it was inflaming. And so for those who are just learning about what this is I'm talking about, I'm going to give you the headline overview, but I am no scientist. I've just done a lot of research, and its bottom line is some foods will cause our body inflammation. For my body, one of them is almonds.
Mm.
Yeah. And almonds can make me start to have a runny nose, sore throat. It can look like I'm getting the flu. Well, what it does then, there's the rest of the body is going to be going into also inflammation mode. So all the aches and pains from the crash will come back. I can tell you when I ate something that my body doesn't like because my hands will start to hurt.
Oh, that's so interesting. You can tell right after you eat it, or does it take a little bit of time? Like that, how long does it take usually?
Can take minutes,
Yeah. Wow.
minutes. hmm But
Wow.
I spent a lot of time working on this.
Mhm.
It didn't come overnight. And so I just kept trying new things because I was determined not to live in pain.
Mhm.
And so I think that's another thing that we need to really look at is like, you know, the spirit for change has to be so deep
Mhm.
that you will move mountains for that. And we all think we're ready to make the change. We all think we're ready to do the health reset, or we think we're ready to, we can fight depression on our own, or we think that we're ready to maybe launch a new business. But I mean, the spirit for change has got to be, when people say identify your why, dude, I was like, I will not go through life walking in pain.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that was a fighting thing for me.
Mhm.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what's mine? I have a passion for this. I want that. No, I am talking about, you guys, what the hell makes you fired up?
Yeah. So true.
What pisses
Right.
you off?
Yeah.
Like for me, I started an online business coaching entrepreneurs about how to get healthy and wealthy in the nooks and crannies of their time, because most of us are working full time, because I was going into bankruptcy. I
Right.
know I'm not the only one who was fighting that,
Yeah.
even though I had a good paying job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
the
was
truth,
broke.
right? Even if you have a good paying job, you can still get yourself in that.
You can still have problems. And so what if you got yourself there? You can get yourself out.
Right. Yeah.
And so the biggest thing that I've learned is I would be going these doctor's appointments, I'd be this therapy, and I would just come home crying to my mom. I'm like, why am I having to go through this? I get it now. 15 years later.
Yeah.
15. I had my last doctor's appointment, 13 years of therapy. And then I
Mm.
was released.
That's a long time. That's a long time. Okay. So and then so you went to therapy, and then was there a point where you were ready to stop, or you decided there was another way for you, or?
So along the way, I was adding in traditional medicine with Western medicine.
Yeah.
So it was a layered
Yeah.
effect because traditional medicine just really could get me to a point, but I that wasn't good enough to me.
Yeah. It's true.
And so I really became obsessed with what was on my plate. I started to learn for me what foods would do to my body. And here's why I say your health is your biggest business asset, because something interesting happened along the way.
Hmm.
I was building a broadcast career. And as I became obsessed with what I was eating, I started to make promotions. I started winning awards.
Interesting.
It was easier to make a next step in the career to make more money.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys,
Hmm.
because the better that I ate, the better my mind could work.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had some learning disabilities, and those started to get kind of melt away a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those were more manageable.
Yeah.
And so that's why I plant my flag and very big if saying, if you are ready to take your life to the next level, let's start at the most basic thing, what we eat
Mm-hmm.
and what we drink.
What you drink. Do you have any quick tips for people? That could be a whole, 30 minutes just talking about what to eat. But I think a lot of people get confused with all these diets and suggestions, it's like in the media, being in
Yeah.
the media yourself,
So there's a
this, but
media, there's a ton of stuff to talk about. Yeah.
yeah, they talk about,
Mhm.
oh, the next thing is the keto diet. And then it's was the Atkins diet. And then there's, all these different, detox and, what's the other one is where you don't eat for a while. It's
Fasting.
fasting. There's all these types of things, or eat only organic. I mean, there's all these things that people are told. What are some things that you recommend for people?
Again, I'm no nutritionist and I'm no scientist, but I am someone who has become obsessed in the health space because I want to function in the professional level at top, and I want to make more money.
Yeah.
And I want to be happier and live I want to feel passionate love with a partner, and I want I want joy in my life, and I also want to create multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And so I essentially want to work on my edge. And if you think about athletes, they're always working on their edge.
Yes.
They're very aware of what works for their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I will say is figure out your body. I'm not going to say what's right or what's wrong, but you did say detox. What I do recommend is that you take 30 days and you reduce inflammatory foods.
Mm-hmm.
And you really let your body move in easier ways, and then start to introduce them back in and see how you feel one
Mm-hmm.
at a time.
Mm-hmm. So what would be some examples of inflammatory foods
So
in
for
general?
me, like I've learned almonds are one.
Mm-hmm.
Nuts can be some inflammatory foods. If you look at the science, and the science says traditionally gluten, whey, soy, dairy, alcohol, and coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, okay.
sugar.
And sugar. Yeah, I was going to say sugar is a big one. I've
Right.
heard
And
a lot
I
about
think it's
sugar. Yeah.
really important, though, we define what sugar is. Like,
Yeah.
if it comes from the ground, it comes from Mother Earth.
Yeah.
It's not that bad for you. I have found.
Yeah.
Again, I'm no nutritionist, but like a lot of my friends who are nutritionists say, yeah, eat some fruit. It's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. So the processed, it's like a lot of the processed stuff and the chemicals and all the stuff that you put into food. And I mean,
Correct.
it does affect you. And then not getting enough vitamins. I mean, I know that is,
That goes from how we eat.
yeah, low vitamin.
Mother Nature has all these vitamins in
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature if we're choosing to eat right.
Yeah.
So I really look at it like, I think we just think that life can be casual, and I've really recently heard this from Ed Milet, and I am in love with it. Is stop being so casual.
Yeah.
Like, take some damn ownership of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really resonated with me when I heard it. And so I hope that you guys take this away, but it's like, we get to own our lives, and we do this once.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand when life is falling apart. I get that. But I have lived it. I have lived it. I have been there. Trust me. In the last 2 years were very dark and painful. But there were a couple things that I always did because I wanted to keep each day moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed about movement every day.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, about movement, because that's
Yeah. So
important, isn't it? Yeah.
another thing you guys should know is I am a fitness instructor. I have been for multiple
Oh.
years of a spin instructor. Um, I always teach on the weekends, and we just got done with a great class today. I've
What do
done
you
that for
teach?
years.
What do you teach?
Spinning.
Spinning. Oh, fun.
Yeah, and the reason being is when I was in the car crash, it was the only thing I could do without pain.
Oh, yeah.
I had to let go of running. I had to let go of everything. It was
Mm-hmm.
spinning or swimming, and I don't like swimming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like spinning
Each his
better.
own. Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys, but I want you to hear this. I couldn't do much, but I refused not to move. And because of that, I will tell you it is one of the key things that helped me heal. Absolutely, hands down, movement.
Mm-hmm.
When my body screamed at me, don't move, I moved.
Mm-hmm.
My knees hurt so bad. I used to go to bed with ice packs on my hands, and my wrists, my forearms, and my knees and my feet
Mm-hmm.
because I was trying to reduce the inflammation. But I kept moving. Sometimes you take some time off, but I kept moving. And as I did, I got stronger. And the muscles around where it was weak, where it was damaged, got stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I got smarter about how I was going to train at the gym and really focused in on where I had been damaged. But I kept moving. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was fighting depression and the world was falling apart for me, I was obsessed with moving every single day. Because according to the data, there is a chemical change that happens in our brain when we exercise.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of fluid that comes up from our spinal column that goes up into our brain that we need. And so why wouldn't you set yourself up for the most success?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I always say to somebody before they go to a job interview, I call a friend and I'm like, great job. Good luck tomorrow. Make sure you go work out in the morning.
Yeah.
That's like
Before.
my advice to everyone.
Yes. Yes. So true.
The data is there that supports when you get your body moving, you're going to work on a better edge and you're going to have more clarity in the brain.
Yeah.
So it also is it's a little bit of the happiness drug too, like the runner's high,
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want the natural high?
Yeah. It's endorphin.
When life is so damn hard or shit's going wrong in life. And then why wouldn't you want to fuel your body with things that are going to keep your brain clear and positive? Because there's data shows that sugar is like alcohol. It's a emotional cycle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely affects your mood and your motivation and energy level, all of that. A lot of times people will drink alcohol to feel relaxed, but then what happens is it ends up you need more of it in order to feel that same effect, and then it actually causes more issues in the long run with alcohol.
Well, and you bring up another point. The other thing I was obsessed with, and so you guys know, I want you to understand, those who are watching this thinking, yeah, she's pretty successful. Come on now. I spent 6 months where it was really hard to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I got out of bed
Mm-hmm.
was to go work out or to show up to my book club.
Oh, your book club.
Mm-hmm. It was because I had a tribe of people. So I think the other thing is really important is community.
Yeah.
Is that when you're trying to rise up from the ashes, you better be working on your community. And if your community does not support you, let them go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I let people go. I brought in a different community who believed in me. I leveraged my workout friends because they were living a life for me that was a healthier fit. than going out on a Friday night or a Saturday night or Tuesday night or a Monday night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was really obsessed with making sure that I did get 8 hours of sleep or at least 8 hours of quiet.
Yeah, that's true too, because a lot of entrepreneurs or busy professionals don't get enough sleep. They don't,
Or parents. I mean, come
and
on,
parents.
moms.
Yeah, I'm a mom.
You're a mom.
It's hard, it's like, it's hard to manage it, but I do not perform well when I don't get enough sleep.
And so
Yeah.
it's okay to set boundaries around sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I've also learned to heal. It's one of the things I had to do to heal. It's one of the things I had to do to help get out of depression
Mm-hmm.
was set some boundaries around it. And when I date, I'm like, nope, not going out during the week. I'll meet you on Friday night. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the boundaries. And I think we again, it goes back to like, why are we so damn casual? Like, take some ownership on it. If you want to create it, like, own it. And, that's the other thing that I often say when I'm working with people and coaching them of, we really have to look at what are your actions? How are your decisive actions? Where can we create traction in your life? And then where can we make subtle changes that will make the shift you're wanting to create in your business easier?
Mm-hmm.
And, I in coaching people, you guys, part of also what I coach is how you show up. How do you speak to people? How do you deliver your message, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 15 years on TV, I'm here to tell you, I was obsessed with how I looked. I had to be. It was part of my brand. But what you guys probably think is that's a little vain. No, I was obsessed with how my brain functioned because I had to be working at my peak on air.
Yeah.
And so as I was more obsessed about my brain, my skin cleared up, my wrinkles cleared up, the dark circles went away.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
looked more vibrant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It all starts with your plate and your drink,
Mm-hmm.
your movement and your sleep
Mm-hmm.
and your community.
That's great. Yeah, those are all so important. Absolutely. And so for some people that are listening here, what would you say? Like some of them might be saying, okay, yes, that's great. Okay, so how do I fit that in? Because I've got this really demanding job. I mean, because working in
So do
media,
I. Bring it on. I got it. I got a
that's,
demanding job. I run a business in the evening. I'm not a mom and I'm not a wife. So some of you guys might have me talked on that, but I do have a lot of other things, and I have and I'm a fitness instructor. So you guys, it just becomes habits. It's all about your habits. What are your habits?
mm-hmm.
I used to work with this guy, and I brought my lunch every day to work. I bring my lunch pretty much every day, and he was just like, I just don't have time. I was like, it's a non-negotiable. When I get home for 15 minutes, I'm going to prepare my salad and boil my eggs, and or on Sunday, it's a non-negotiable. I don't spend more than an hour. I spend 1 hour.
No, that's not that much time.
No, I believe in leftovers.
Yeah. People will say like, oh, I have to spend all day cooking to prepare
No, you
for
don't.
the week. And you
No, you don't.
don't. It sounds like, it just takes you an hour.
If you're smart about it.
Yeah.
But again, that is where I'm not obsessed about having it look perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So when you let go of perfection and you just start to change the habit where maybe this week, and I'm going to put a challenge out to you guys, is one of my favorite things is I start my day with a smoothie. And this goes back to why, and I do this because of digestion. I want my digestion to stay really light and easy in the morning because my body's still digesting. Because I'm just coming off a fast of about 12 to 14 hours.
Okay.
And that's huge. There's a lot of data that supports that. A lot of data.
Yeah,
There's also data that contradicts it. Again, you asked me this question. I want to be very clear. I am not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. But what I am is very in tune with what works for my body.
Yeah.
And so, just like sweating, and I'm going to say, are you going to the bathroom? because you better start looking at, like, is your body working the way it should? Are you able to get 7 hours of sleep to 8 hours? Like, can your body rest for that long? And if it can't, then start looking at, what are you doing? Are you eating late? Are you drinking late? Are you drinking coffee late? Is it super stressful at night? Maybe you start a meditation. Maybe you need to go for a 30-minute walk. Like, how is your body functioning the way it should? Because our bodies will always work to be in balance.
Yeah,
and
that's,
you notice when your body's in balance or you're in flow, like, life just is easier.
yeah, it's so true. Yeah. And just like replacing a lot of things like, you know, coffee with other type of like natural energy. There's so many different things. This doesn't mean I don't have coffee. I do, but I notice when I have it all the time or I have it every day, it just does not, I don't feel very good. I really don't.
Right. Right.
For me, it doesn't work that well. But when I replace it with some other kind of natural energy, then I feel a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had this B12 energy green drink, and we already don't get enough B12s according to data.
Yeah, that's true.
That I love, and I use that most of the week. So if anyone wants it, hit me up.
And that affects your mood too. The B12,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
B12 and
Because I
vitamin
want,
D.
right. And
Yeah.
because I know that I have a propensity to fight depression.
Yeah. Wow. So you get both. I call it a twofer.
Yeah.
A twofer. You get it.
And I think one more thing I'd love to share with people here
Yeah.
is, as you're rising up is, when I coach clients on how to present well, from all my years in broadcast, I think one of the things that we forget is we have to hold our shoulders back and be
Oh.
proud of the stuff. And I say this figuratively and literally. And
Yeah.
here's why. I think that our society shames us for stuff not going well. And I want you to be proud of what you're going through. And as you make the quick little shifts, tell others you're doing that and be proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let what they say, pull you back. Because at the end of the day, why would you have someone else's 2 cents keep you broke? Why would you have someone else's 2 cents keep you sick? You're going to pay for these things now or later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank
But
you.
if you really want to create, I think I've learned the biggest thing out of the last 15 years of healing is that our bodies are amazing. Our minds are amazing, but we have to wake up every day choosing to rise out of the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use your habits. You can change small habits every day that have a compound effect that a month later you could be moving to becoming a different person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, you answered all my questions. I didn't even have to ask as many, but yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And you have a free gift too
Oh
that you're
yeah. So
offering?
I was mentioning the smoothies. I love to start them. So I have these super slim smoothie recipes that are dope, and they keep you super full in the morning. I make them up, I whip them in a mason jar, and I'm out the door. So
You put them in a mason jar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You know why, everybody?
why?
I've learned a lot of tops spilling.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
So mason jars, they don't spill. It's easier. It's cleaner. I put them in a mason jar and I roll out, and I'm super full, and it's super nutrient dense, light on the gut. And I have a lot of clarity, so I can I can let the first couple hours of my day at work, I can crush it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then how can they reach out to you? I'm going to put information.
Yeah, please hit me up on the socials. On Instagram, I'm at the Julia Bruck. Yes, I'm the Julia Bruck. I'm also there on Facebook as well, and Twitter. Send me a DM. I would actually love to know. I'm going to give everyone a challenge. I would love to know what your favorite smoothie is and what the biggest thing that you want to change in your life this year is. So what's one step that you're working to do that on?
I love it. Yeah.
Maybe that's just sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep more.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is create more joy.
Create more joy. Oh, okay. Mine is this year is to create more like quality time, like self-care time.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make it a priority.
Yeah,
And
you
my
guys.
favorite smoothie is a dark chocolate cherry smoothie.
Ooh, that sounds so good. So again, hit me up, the Julia
Yeah.
Bruck, and send me your favorite smoothie recipe or one thing that you're working to create this year. I'd love to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Julia.
thanks for having me, you guys. I hope this helps.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. This was amazing. So much. So, well, thank you all for joining us. We'll have another episode tomorrow. So stay tuned to that and make sure that you download the gift, and the link will be in your email. And, perhaps like starting, like answering the challenge that Julia shared with us, getting started with the new year. We're still in the new year and of 2020, and try, something new, like just to make those small little shifts that will really improve your health. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.